Hi, my name is Richard Paiva. I'm a happy corporate dropout. And now I'm the founder of the Art of Sport. It's a startup that focuses on the overall development of young girls through sport and group therapy.
I'm Nupur Dhingra Paiva, a child psychotherapist. Now, mission from having used my body, taxi for my head, most of my life. And today, this is our idea worth spreading, that your bodies are more than just transportation.
Well, let me start with the story. This is Geeta. Geeta was small framed with delayed development since birth. She had uncoordinated movement and an unclear speech. She had the willingness to play, but her body wouldn't support that enthusiasm. A perfect picture of a girl who might not be encouraged to use her body because it doesn't work very well. She'd be one of those girls in school who might not be able to make it to a school team or her class team, or I suspect even with a bunch of friends in a school playground. Radha was overweight and she loved sweets. Clearly, there was a lack of physical activity in her life. She was the prototype of a girl who would grow up having a difficult relationship with food and who would be encouraged to exercise to lose weight. And perhaps she probably will one day, but out of compulsion and not out of joy. Both these girls were 8 years old. Both come from affluent families and go to good schools. Both have the physical comfort and affection of the families, but both lack the experience of joy their bodies can provide them.
When we say body, we are not talking about beauty or fashion or the images of bodies that you see on magazine covers or on Instagram where people have thousands of followers based on the way they look or the products that they sell. We're talking about a concrete use of the body, the kind of use that gets your blood moving, sweat dripping, lung expanding kind of use, the kind that we move further away from the more adult and affluent we get. Now, why that is another story. But let's take a look at where this might begin. At the risk of generalizing, you'd agree that in day schools, most boys under the age of 12 are to be outdoors playing. And their enthusiasm is contained because of pressures of school or homework or family. Our average school day is designed to have 30 minutes of play and 5 hours of sitting. Even 4-year-olds in kindergarten are encouraged to be sitting for 3.5 out of a 4-hour day. This is a typical timetable for a 4-year-old in school, 2 slots of outdoor play. But this is what it looks like by the time you're in class 8. 1 slot of outdoor play in a week. Boys over the age of 12, unless you're in a structured team, you have a coach, chances are you're no longer going to be playing regularly outdoors. So you can see that we are being trained from very early on to sit. As a result of that, we get sucked more and more into our minds and away from our bodies. So people in school, in sports academies and families, they're interested in the creamy layer, those of us who have potential for excellence. But what about the rest of us? What about those of us who are not going to make a living using our bodies, who aren't going to be on the cover of GQ or on Men's Health? Do we not also need to run and move and play? We're not encouraged to play for joy. And this is going to cause us problems.
And what about girls? How many 6 to 8-year-olds do you actually see outdoor playing and sweating it out? How many of these same girls, when they grow older, say when they're 13, 14, or 15, are still outdoor playing and sweating it out? How many girls continue playing for joy? other than hopscotch. Not that I have anything against hopscotch, but is it really a lung-busting activity? How many girls continue to play, or how many parents actually encourage the girls to still go outdoor and play once they're older and they're independent? The lack of play is a problem in our youth. There's been ample research into how sedentary lifestyles are the causes of non-communicable diseases, of which Tamil Nadu is one such hub, unfortunately. So the more affluent a state gets, the more ill it gets in some ways. Heart diseases, hypertension, diabetes, non-communicable and avoidable. So why are we telling you all this? And what has art or sport got to do with any of this? This forms a social context and background to our thinking. But there were two personal incidents that were the last straw in us finally setting up the art or sport. This is our older daughter when she was 5 years old. I accompanied her one evening when she was going for a skating class, and I observed how the coach was talking to the girls. It was almost militant. Oi! Seedha rehna hai! Oi! Don't sit in a group! Oi! The girls, boys, they look visibly upset. They look nervous. They look intimidated. But the coach was totally oblivious to the effect he was having on these kids. And occasionally he'd lean back on the railing and check his mobile phone. And it struck me how many adults interacting with children actually realize that children respond more to tone than verbal instructions. It was very disheartening.
2 years later, as naive parents, we were led to believe that because our daughter was physically capable, that she would be able to participate in a state-level swimming competition. And perhaps she could, except that coach was almost entirely focused on her physical capacity and not on her emotional and mental makeup. Medal aana hai, was all he ever gave as a pep talk. And to her, it was more threatening than encouraging. This is her face at the swimming competition. She was nervous, unprepared for the size of the pool, the temperature of the water, or the size of the crowds watching. Their team had not been prepared for any of this. And even though an observing national coach who watched her swim declared that she had the potential to be an international swimmer, for our daughter it was over. She went from loving it to refusing to get into a pool, all in a span of 6 months. And we thought this must happen to so many children. And surely there's another way. Surely there's a way to the joy in at the same time give children an experience of being effective at what they're doing and being challenged by it. So for us, the art of sport very naturally became about girls because that was the story in our home. In India, gender changes everything. From a very young age, girls are encouraged to hold back their physical exuberance, cover their bodies, minimize their presence in most situations, and hold themselves back from an honest expression of mind, body, and emotion. The art of sport comes in, change this.
So we wanted to take our concept to local parks, where girls can come and play in the safe vicinities of their homes. But this was easier said than done because the local authorities were more interested in renting the space for banquet events and weddings rather than playing because it got them more money. So we took this concept to schools where most playgrounds lie empty after 3 p.m. But there again, the school principals asked us, why only girls? With most disinterest. So after slogging it from door to door for 6 to 8 months with many rejections, we finally partnered with the school and started our program. So the art of sport is not a charity. It's not a sports academy. It's not even a sports center. It's for an overall development program. It's about making girls experience their physical, emotional, and mental capacities and limitations. And we do this through a team sport, always guided by skilled professionals. We get them to express their feelings more than what they think. Because once you're aware of your feelings, it's empowering, it's therapeutic. So a typical session of the art of sport is about an hour, 15 to 20 minutes. And it roughly comprises 4 aspects. Every session is headed by a licensed football coach. This coach is supported by a qualified child psychologist that observes the mental and the emotional capacities and progress of each girl. We organize football drills, basketball drills, and games. The aim of these drills is to enhance the reflexes, motor coordination, spatial movements, understanding of team dynamics. How do you get the girls to actually be more aware of themselves in a group? We then have, at the end of every session, is called a huddle. The purpose of this huddle is to get the girls to express their feelings of success, failure, or frustration after every drill or after every session. And lastly, at the end of every session, we serve organic snacks, seasonal fruit and juices. The uniqueness of our program is that we do not take more than 12 girls per session because that's the bespoke attention that we can provide. Now, moving further, we also realize that playing a sport is more than just physical activity and the skill that it demands. It's about understanding yourself, it's about discipline, it's about nutrition. Because life off the playing field is as important as life on it, and both complement each other. So we created certain activities for this purpose, so that girls get to be more aware of their actions and are more aware of the environment in which they live in. Some of these activities are, we take them to organic farms. The aim here is for them to get to understand how food is grown, where it comes from, and its relevance to playing and its relevance to keeping fit. We organize interactive art sessions. Here the aim is for them to express their feelings and their emotions through visuals. One of the other uniqueness of our program is that we involve and interact with parents a lot. This is not like a parent-teacher meeting where we sit with them and their grades and marks. We actually sit with them, to highly qualified child psychologists with the parents, in trying to understand their daughter's overall development, their behavior, their growth.
In the last 2 years, we've learned a lot of things. Some of the most important stuff we've learned is the importance of fathers' relationships with their daughters. And we've begun to include fathers in the program in a big way, both in person and as an attitude. The dad attitude of, you can do it. We introduced the concept of fathers sitting with their daughters and sharing stories from their own childhood, their own failures and challenges. The idea was for the girls to get to know that as children, even their fathers have been through tough times. For the mothers, we get them to participate in physical activity with their daughters so that girls get to see that their mothers can be both beautiful and strong. For most girls, the art program is the first experience of my body can do this. I can build the capacity to bear some discomfort and sweat because at the end of it, I feel good. But I too can be both beautiful and strong. So for the last 2 years, we've worked with over 50 and we have significantly more success stories than drop. But some of the most important lessons we learned was that we were at the mercy of the weather conditions in Delhi. The heat, cold, the pollution, rain, mosquitoes, and that actually needed indoor space if we wanted to run this program year-round. So this is our indoor space. We've invested in a state-of-the-art ventilation system, international sports flooring, and safety measures to make sure that we have comfortable conditions all year round. The floor above this is a comfortable space for parents to relax while their young ones are playing. And that's the other thing we learned, is that we really needed to start young. So we reduced the entry age to our program to 3. And we modified it so that we could work with younger children. Because we do need to start young if we want to make changes in our society. And change we do need. Women in our society have big problems and feel stuck in those problems. And the attitude of helplessness is to start young. The attitude that I don't need to feel stuck is not just in the mind. Our entire body collaborates to make us feel energetic and powerful. The power we have in our limbs can actually be transferred to other life situations if we reflect on it. For example, how did we get stuck with the idea that boys are better handling safety than girls are? It's a social construct. Women with stronger posture are more difficult to intimidate because communication is more about body language and tone of voice and less about the content of speech. And this is the bigger picture of what we want to influence. That you live in your bodies. It's not just for transportation. Thank you.
Thank you.